Hi everybody and welcome back to English Grammar with Bildunginteraktiv. We will tell you a couple of things about should and about ought to, and this shouldn't take us too long. Let's start with a couple of examples. This is the classic context for should. It's late, you should go to bed. It's late, you should go to bed. Shouldn't we help mom with the cooking? Shouldn't we help mom with the cooking? I think you should work harder. I think you should work harder. This combination of I think and should, this sounds very nice in English. You can say you shouldn't go to bed so late. Obviously, this is the classic example. You shouldn't go to bed so late. What's the difference to you mustn't go to bed so late? I know I will tell you this in a minute. And then you can say you should take the dog for a walk. And you should have taken the dog for a walk. What's the difference between those two? Now let's have a look at the examples and let's be a bit more specific. When to use should? Now the classic place for should is when you give advice or when you give your opinion, or a person gives advice, a person gives his or her opinion. For example, it's raining. You should take an umbrella. This is an advice. You should take an umbrella. Or it's my opinion that you take an umbrella. And it's late, you should go to bed. It's late, you should go to bed. This is giving advice. Well, my advice is that you go to bed. It's my opinion, I think you should go to bed. Giving advice, giving opinion. And one more. He shouldn't eat so many sweets, it's bad for his teeth. Again, this is maybe an opinion. It can also be an advice. He shouldn't eat so many sweets. It's bad for his teeth. So should always expresses advice and opinion. These are classic examples. Now let's continue. We like to use should in English in combination with think, because think already expresses opinion, and this is exactly what should does. You don't have to, but it sounds very nice if you can. Let's have a look at a couple of examples. I think you should work harder. It's my opinion that you work harder. I think you should work harder. Should in combination with to think. Don't you think they should stay at home? Don't you think they should stay at home? In that question, don't you think they should stay at home? I also give my opinion, because when I say, well, don't you think they should stay at home? It's pretty clear that I think they should stay at home, so it's giving opinion. And I don't think we should go to that restaurant. The food tastes horrible. I don't think we should go to that restaurant. The food tastes horrible. If you can, but you don't have to, use should in combination with the verb to think. Let's continue. Now look at these two examples. Somebody says, I don't feel well. And your answer is, well, you should stay in bed. Somebody says, I have a fever. And your answer is, you must stay in bed. Now, obviously, there is a difference between should and must. Now, that should, we already had that, is giving opinion and advice. I don't feel well. Well, you should stay in bed. It's my opinion that you stay in bed. You must stay in bed is almost like an order. This is obligation. You give that person no choice. You must stay in bed means that there's no way that you will not stay in bed. So you must stay in bed. So we can say must is stronger than should. And this is important. There's a difference between should and must. Should is the advice and must is the order. It's the obligation. Remember, must is stronger than should. So now we still have to this should have done, which is like a should perfect, so to speak. Let's have a look at a couple of examples. I feel sick. Well, you shouldn't have eaten so much. What is the difference between you shouldn't have eaten so much and you shouldn't eat so much? Because obviously there is a difference. He lost the match, but he should have won. He was the better player. What's the difference between he should have won and he should win? Because obviously there is one. And she looks tired. She should have gone to bed earlier. What's the difference between she should have gone to bed and she should go to bed? Now let me explain this to you like this. When you use should have done, should perfect, you didn't do something. Now this didn't is important because this construction should have done brings you back into the past. You didn't do something, but it would have been the right thing to do it. Let's have a look at the examples. You shouldn't have eaten so much. I feel sick. And your answer is you shouldn't have eaten so much. You didn't do it, which means you ate so much. But it would have been the right thing not to eat so much. I feel sick. You shouldn't have eaten so much. Second example. He lost the match, but he should have won. He was the better player. He should have won. He didn't win. But it would have been the right thing because he was the better player. He lost the match, but he should have won. She looks tired. Third example. She looks tired. She should have gone to bed earlier. She didn't go to bed earlier. But it would have been the right thing. It's my opinion. Okay? So, she didn't go to bed, but it would have been the right thing. She looks tired. She should have gone to bed earlier. So this should have done brings you back into the past, because obviously she looks tired, she should go to bed brings you into the future. She should go to bed brings you into the future, and she should have gone. This actually happened yesterday, for example. So you didn't do something, but it would have been the right thing to do it. Should have done. You shouldn't have eaten so much. He should have won, and she should have gone to bed earlier. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so now we still have ought to look at. And I have good news for you. In most cases, in 99% of the cases, you can use ought to in the place of should. You can use ought to instead of should. The meaning, most of the time, the meaning is exactly the same. You can say you should take an umbrella, and you can say you ought to take an umbrella. It means exactly the same thing. So you just want to be careful with this to, ought to. The to actually needs to be there. With the should, there is no to. You should go to bed. You ought to go to bed. Same meaning. He should eat more vegetables. He ought to eat more vegetables. Means exactly the same. And this also works for this should perfect. You should have come, or you ought to have come, is exactly the same thing. And remember, you should have come is you didn't come, but it would have been the right thing. You should have come, and you ought to have come is exactly the same. So in most cases, you can use ought to in the place of should. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. That's it for this time. We see you around when we do our next video. And until then, I say bye-bye and have a good time.